Ahoy landlubbers, we built a door. It's a 7x7. It can close.
It's rather fast. It's
It
1.8
is.
seconds closing. And it
As you,
opens in 2.3 seconds.
yes, as you can
It's
see,
quite quick.
it can
I'll give you
close, it can
some
open. What
other
more could you
views
want?
of the door. It's pretty survival friendly. It's 1,463 blocks
And none of those
because
blocks are beacons, fun fact.
yeah, only
It's,
5 music generators, which are, so you can
yeah.
probably
Another
shut
fun
this off.
fact, we're going to teach you how to build this door.
Oh
It's
yeah,
going to be great. You
it's
guys, when you're
quite
done
cool.
watching this video, there will be a door that you will have built, and you will activate
Even
it,
if
and it
you
will
do
work
not
unless you're
build
on
it,
Bedrock Edition. It won't work on Bedrock Edition.
yeah, don't do that. Even if you do not build it, it will still appear in your house in a random location after you watch the video.
And then you will find out if your house is Java or Bedrock Edition.
Uh, anyways, so let's
Blend.
go right on to the tutorial, I suppose.
Uh-huh. Alright, so to get started, you'll want to get yourself an area approximately this size.
11 by 7 by 19 are the dimensions. You'll need to dig 6 blocks down, including the floor. As you can see right here, there's 6 blocks. This we'll be building at 1 layer above this glass, and this green is the floor level. And your door frame is like on the 5th block. It's not like right in the middle of the 7. It's like right there where the lime block is. Anyway, we have this lovely abode in which we will fill with this piston door. So we'll begin showing you how to build this layout. You may take it away, J2Co.
Alright, so starting with the bottom layout, we've got a triple extender that goes 5 blocks across, centered on the middle of the door. And then we've got a whole bunch of storage blocks, like so.
It shall be noted that this triple piston extender leaves 1 block between it and the floor for wiring.
There will be a block of space underneath the triple where we will do wiring. And then this just extrudes out like so, if I'm able to place blocks correctly.
There will be 5 storage blocks in the bottom and none on the top.
Yep.
For this optimal, speedy layout.
And of course, we need to power all of these storage blocks, and we do the horizontal ones all at one go with some dust. And these ones are slightly more complicated. We're gonna have to make some room for some observers. And then we will have some piston slider action powering these observers like so. Have some blocks here, 2 wood over here. And of course some more observers coming out of there to power this bottom line. And then the slider has a piston on this side to push it, piston on the other side to push it back. You've got a piston right here, sticky piston, block on it, observer here to make the slider return itself. And then while we're over here, we'll do some more of the storage wiring, so branching out with some leaves out of the slider, some slabbage up here, and some dust to power the storage.
This does very many critical pulses for the storage right here. It does like half of them.
Yeah, it does a lot.
Saves a lot of space, so that's why we decided to do that.
Really do. And now, moving on with some more of the wiring setup. Just gonna break a few of these pistons here, but we're gonna have a big wall of observers here, down here as well. And then just replace all these pistons. And then this guy is a slider, so we have an extra guy here, and then observer facing up there, piston, and then you've got a block there for reasons to be explained. And then this doesn't need to be an observer, right? You mentioned.
It does not need to be, which is a very good 1 nether quartz save, because we already know nether quartz is really hard to get.
Yes, it is impossible to get. And then we have an updater piston here. That will be...
Meanwhile, builds the entire door out of quartz blocks.
True. It is the only block that you're allowed to build with for door frames, but
Don't try TNT. This is
yeah, personal
true
experience.
story.
Take it from us. Do not make this out of TNT. But no, these 5 guys are jukeboxes. I hope you enjoy mining for diamonds, because you will be doing this to build this door. And we've got some more redstonage over here. We've got a leaf coming in here. Now this is for a later part of the pulse, but I'm just getting this out of the way so I don't forget about it. There we have our bottom redstone line, and of course you cannot forget this updater piston. It's a very critical updater, updates the bottom row for some certain moves. Moving on, I think I'll do some more of the sliders. So we've got
Fix this. I apologize.
offset a line of 5 observers by 1 to the side, because it'll slide over in power and then slide back.
Make sure these 5 floor blocks will be solid
Yeah,
because we need to
this
power
is our-
pistons through them.
Look at that. Then we've got ourselves glass observer facing this way, and this will power into something a little like this. And then we've got a very good chain of pistons here. We've got 1 bed, 2 bed, 3 bed, 4 bed, 5 block event delay chain. That is critical to have enough bed.
Is this
for
enough?
some of the other moves. Yeah, that's enough. That's enough.
No, it's actually only 4. You failed.
Oh, I'm just blind. I don't know. But yeah, that's our chain, and then we've also got this slider down here. And then we've got updater, we've got a target, we've got a slab, put some dust on there. That'll do things. Now, of course, some more timings for the slider stuff. Got some observers pointing into that. We got some scaffolding up here, points in here. And then we've got 1 final slider to build. Of course, we can't forget the input for that slider. And it goes a little bit like slider block, observer, solid block, and 3 more blocks. And those are all of the sliders that will produce some very lovely 0-tick pulses for
Yes,
the
I will
final few
demonstrate
blocks.
this right now. So
Yeah.
what this actually does is if you power these 2 at the same time, I will demonstrate that with a note block. It does not have to be at a different time. You can see that this will actually instantly double extend, which is quite nice,
Scrumptious.
but just by itself, it is not worth making a door over that. So actually, if you move this up to do triple extension, you can reuse this circuit and it does a triple extension, but only if you do not forget to not solid power these pistons, because of the way that this is set up. These observers getting pushed over, the ones facing into the pistons, they power first before this upwards one, which means that anything down here or these 2 spots will take precedence over this block powering this redstone line, which it will be doing right here, which I forgot about.
Oh yes,
This
we
is
forgot
lab.
one crucial thing.
Well, it's not crucial. We were going to build it. It was just we need this for the setup. This actually should not do that. You can see now it works as that, but this thing still is valid because what happens is if we want to do the double extender, you can see that there will be pistons stacked right here. We can't have this, obviously. It'll just power this piston right here. So we have these observers power the bottom spot first, but then we have this observer on the end. So just in case the pistons are in the up position for the triple extender, this jukebox chain will be enough to make it still work, which is very nice. As you can see, the bottom slider is 2 block event, which is enough for the 0-tick to actually work, and then the top one needs to be 3 more for the 0-tick chain to work, which is why we need to fit 5 in here.
Yep.
End demonstration.
So moving on, we're going to start with some of the input to the bottom. So we've got a piston on the very bottom corner, and you've got going to build a bit of a tree with an observer facing into it.
Don't worry, the leaves are coming later.
Yeah, we're gonna It's going to be a very good tree. Don't worry. And we have a piston being powered by an observer, which in turn is powered by a piston. And we have our input block right here. And then up from that is a note block, some dust on top, an observer right here. Now this is for the sides now. Thank you, scary Minecraft cave noise. But now we're going to start making a bit of a tree. We've got our leaves. Don't worry, there's more leaves. But I think I made this wrong. Yes, I did. You should actually do this. Don't do what it was before, because then it wouldn't work. We're going to place all our side pistons on this side, like so. And start slabbing up. So make a slab tower that powers the whole wall, as well as that piston, to keep the sides from spamming to smithereens. And now,
It'll just pulse like 2 times, which is like too many. It's 1 times too many.
Trueness. Now we're going to take power from this observer and put it down here. Put that into a target. And we're going to have a big wiggly worm of observers that starts here, being powered by a piston. And it's going to power this guy and weave around like that to be used for
This
later.
one will send the slider back up at the right time.
Yep.
As you can see, it's precisely 6 ticks after the slider has gone down, which is very important.
And then we're going to continue giving our tree some lovely leaves. 3 to be precise. Have some observers here. This observer is going to power this piston to prevent the updater from pulsing all the time and stopping the slider from moving when it needs to move.
Oh, that does like half the job. There's another part later.
There was more. And then we also have a block, a solid block down here. Got a tripwire here. And some dust. Another block, some dust. And then we have a slab right there. And then this is going to power an updater for our bottom slider because it needs to have some extra block eventage. And that piston's powered by this lamp, which also powers an observer. And that's going to do a bunch of pulses for our closing. And then, speaking of closing, now's a good time to make the closing double extender, which is done. We've got some observers starting here with a hopper. And then we got another hopper, observer, and then 3 observers here, and a dust. And that is our closing double. And that closing double is powered by a piston there that has an observer there to toggle on the closing. And then, of course, this guy is just gonna not be in check. It's gonna pulse all over the place on opening. So we have another set of pistons. Got a toggle there, downwards piston, observer on top of it, and then we've got a sticky here, and block there, and that'll block the line when appropriate. But that's not
Yes, we can't have these pulses going through during the opening or else it will break. So that's what this thing is for.
Absolutely.
You have to let one of them through, and that's what that circuit is for. We will have a different circuit right now that
part
will
2 of that.
block it during the closing.
Part 2 of that, we've got observers coming out of the slab, 4-tick repeater, another 4-tick repeater on top of a downwards observer. Then we've got block, dust, and we've got this toggle here. It should just power straight in here.
Just makes a lot of delay, you know.
Then
This entire thing works on a 3-tick cycle, which is why the lamp is quite advantageous in this scenario.
it's very. Now we got a few more things on this side before we can move on with the next. So observer coming off of here, that buds a piston, which starts to spam this piston get more at the correct timing. And then finally, the very first pulse, and also the third.
Remove that dust.
True.
Actually, it's
There.
fine because there's nothing on the pistons. You do not have to do that step.
Glass pane, observer into there. Perfect. So that's this side, and now moving on to the other side, which deals mostly with the last few opening steps. Just gonna make a line with some repeaters, dust on it, slab, and toggle. Gonna keep wiring around, some repeaters around the corner. Block here, and then we have a 3-tick here to do some storage retraction of the blocks during the last few opening rows. Then we're gonna have a note block up here. Observer, hopper, observer, block, dust, 2-tick repeater going up here. And then that goes into here and have a note block to update as explained earlier. And then have a block here and a repeater here. And now we'll make 0-tick generator down here, which involves piston, observer, block here, updater, and we put a dust here.
Yep, this thing retracts the blocks down to be pulled in by the storage after the double extender. And then this thing repowers for the triple.
And then, moving on, if I can get in here, moving on, observer goes here to a piston, the log that powers that leaf for those moves that we added at the very beginning. And then from that piston, we will place a scaffold and another one right there. And then observer, observer to power some storage, another observer, 2-tick repeater, then finally an observer that just goes into here.
This observer actually is the right timing for the storage, but we need the 3-tick repeater to keep it extended for longer because it does a pulse at the wrong time, so it doesn't work.
So then, finally we just have this other side, and then we will move on with Pixie to explain the top. So, to finish up, we'll just have a 3-tick here, 2 observers, sticky piston, air block, block, dust, sticky facing down.
Same trick as earlier to make a ton of delay.
Yeah. Then you have a block here, target here, and I'll have a sticky, just a regular piston. I mean, it can be sticky, but it really doesn't need to.
Oh, I have
Scaffolds,
leftover slime balls.
observer. Then we have some more slab towers going on this side of the door. That concludes the tutorial for the bottom half of the door. Guess
Oh,
we
I
can
forgot to
give it-
mention that this guy, what this guy does, it's the secondary pulse. It gives a second 0-tick to this jukebox line using this piston retracting and this scaffolding to provide a 0-tick to this thing. So that's why we power this ladder a little bit later. It's kind of a pseudo 0-tick, but it still works.
Goodness. And I guess as a final hurrah, we can test it out to make sure I didn't mess it up. All the pistons are in place. Let's get a lever.
Hey, wait, let me put in the storage block so you can see the
Oh,
closing. It looks really cool.
goodness.
There it is.
Let's take a look-see-pooksy here. There we go.
Wonderful.
Let's hit close in order to test out.
You can actually
opening.
put the blocks in for the opening. It'll just like partially work.
There we go.
You
So
can
that-
see it's grabbed many of them, but you'll need to fill in the last 2 blocks of storage because we're missing 2. So make sure to do that, as you can see. Yep, that's it. That's you've built half your 7x7, and now I've got the other half to go. So the first thing we're gonna do to start off the top is build the layout. You each have a 5 piston extender on top, so we can push the blocks down really quickly. A 5 extender is pretty much the limit that you can do quickly. And how we do that is we have this observer stack right here. Actually, the observers are not here right now, but the concept is we'll push down the observers to this level so we can power pistons at this level. And that's how we push all the blocks down. I'm sure observers of the channel will have noticed that. So our observers are actually going to be right here. And these blocks also need to be solid on the ceiling because we need to power pistons through them. For the setup, we have a bunch of redstone right here. We'll have an updater piston here. We need some targets right here. Same concept. We just have this guy here, a bunch of slabs here so we don't bud those pistons. This can be a full block. So that's our layout for this. We just need this line right here to power those. And then for the top, we have a slider for this top piston because there's no other way to do it. Push it back like this. And we have a bunch of dust lines right here. So we also have an extension on these dust lines for another updater piston. Like that. So we have 4 updaters in a row like that. Very space efficient, as you can tell. So the first thing we're going to be doing is pushing in these observers during the closing. So we're going to do that with a piston nestled right in the corner of the door with 2 ticks like that. We're going to go up. We're going to have this falling edge monostable right here. This is going to be a slab, so we don't power a piston later. And we also need this thing to be a target, despite the dust already redirecting, because when this thing blocks it off, if this was a normal block, this dust would redirect into this, and it would solid power that piston, which we do not want. So we don't do that. One observer here for the instant extension. Oops. Well, I tried to stop it. I have failed. Actually forgot the closing immediately. We need scaffolding for that. So we need a scaffolding here and a scaffolding here. We'll place something underneath that scaffolding later, but as right now, we just need to have this go into that. So it has to be really quick on the closing because it has to sync with the sides, and this already generates 2 ticks of latency, so we need it to be very quick. For the next part of the extension, we need, so this thing does the, this thing does the first 2 lines, and then to get this one, we need to pulse it out, of course, and then we have to do a 3-tick pulse to update this piston while it is extending, and then it'll retract on its own because it gets updated from retracting from this block right here, and then it will pull up again after the 3 ticks. Now we get that. So we first need this thingy right here with a 1-tick repeater that's going to power both lines, and we need that because this piston is already at this level, and we need this piston right here to update it, to extend. I'll fix those pistons at the end. And then for the 3-tick pulse, we're just going to have this kind of shape here, and then a 3-tick repeater there, and that's the right timing. So that is all for the extension, and we have to accompany that with the observers here. Then we have observer out from this piston because it's instant. And then we have this funky looking monostable, but it's really just a normal monostable circuit. Into a repeater, into a block here. And that's going to push these blocks down. And then we're going to use this thingy to extend these pistons at the right time with the observers. Next, we want to retract these back and then do like a double retraction kind of. So what we're going to do is run these around like this and have a shape like this with a 1-tick and then a 2-tick to facilitate the double retraction. And then in the middle of all this, we're going to have a piston here, an observer, and then we're going to have a 4-tick repeater here in order to pull back these observers at the right time. And it's a 4-tick, so it takes a long time to retract. Then we're going to have a 2-tick repeater into this. I'm going to have a log and leaf. Oh, not a drip leaf, sorry. We're going to have a leaf there, and this goes down into here, and that's going to do one of the retractions for the triple there. There's actually only a double at this point, but It's fine. And then to do the last double retraction, we have to take another 2-tick repeater and put this into a rail here. Observer again. Make sure you leave that clock running.
True.
I'm just joking. Don't do that. Another observer. I forgot about that one. There's a note block here for later. I'm going to run this into a 0-tick generation device. This one is extremely simple compared to the last ones. So you can tell this is very basic. You just have this redstone block being pushed down and then it gets updated, which is kind of crazy. So that does the last retraction to bring these observers up to here, and then they get retracted by this. And then to start off the triple extension, we actually don't need to make these note blocks as we have done in previous iterations of the door, because these observers being pulled back generate a pulse already. So that's all we need to get this started. 2-tick here, block. And then we're going to use this piston as a means to get odd game tick. It actually can be a dust. I was not wrong. We have this. It's going to be a piston here. This is going to do the first pulse, and that's going to spit them out. And then we need to do a double pulse to this line right here to bring the blocks back up, which we're going to do with this thingy here. Replace this slab with an observer, has the same properties. And then we just have to reset the entire thing, which is just getting a double pulse to the top. Place 2 more observers up. Rail here. We're here. Block. And that's it for that observer extender part of the door. I'm going to fix these pistons now. Yeah, that's fine. Thank you for the help. There's probably going to be one missing, and then the entire thing is going to screw up, but oh well, that's a risk I'm going to have to take. Start off this part of the retraction. We need a 2-tick here, 2 of these observer fellas. We need the classic log leaf right here for the odd game tick, and then we're going to have a very curious 0-tick because we have to start this retraction as soon as possible. I see a glass block. I'm going to steal it.
How dare you?
Sorry. Hopefully that wasn't worth too much.
I'll replace it. You can keep it.
Thank you. Appreciate your generosity here. Anyways, we're going to have this going through. This is going to do the first pulse to this line powering these pistons, so like they retract this one up to here, and then to retract these pistons up to this level to push this back. We're just going to do literally the exact same thing. Well, not exactly. We're just going to move the leaf, and that's the right timing for that one. And then we're going to do some pro gamer strats for this thing. We're going to have a redstone block here. Observer, actually it's not even an observer facing down, just a rail like so. We're going to place a bunch of observers, and I don't know, I'm just going to place them. Hopefully it works. That'll probably do it. All right, and now we need to actually speed up this retraction a little bit, because if we just do like normal observer pulses, it will not be fast enough. So we need a couple of 0-ticks. The first one will be this slider right here. We're going to have a piston right here, and just to make sure that it doesn't like spam, we're going to have a tripwire right here to redirect this fella. Actually, it should be on glass because it looks nicer, but it can be a solid block too. 2 more glass here. I think both of these actually have to be glass because there were some problems if they were solid. To power this thing, note block here, that's just going to be to support this repeater. It doesn't actually do anything for the 0-tick gen. Up here, piston, and power this. And then the last couple of pulses we're going to do with this other funny 0-tick generator. It's actually a double 0-tick generator. Generates 2 0-ticks at the same time. It's quite efficient. So what we're going to do is like power this thing and then this thing at the same time, which is quite nifty. And then make sure to block off this redstone like that. And we're going to get this pulse with this piston right here. We're going to go up, put it into a block, sticky piston, gap, block. That doesn't interfere with this somehow. And then a piston right there. And with any luck, that should be the entire piston door done. So We're just gonna give this a quick test. Oh, there's a piston missing, bruh.
Well, at least the rest of the ones worked.
Yeah, I knew it, man.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness gracious,
You guys
what's
are
happened
extended,
here?
though. What's happening?
Oh, I forgot one updater piston, and it was that one to send this back up, which is quite convenient.
There we go. So
Nice.
now
Okay.
we've got a
That one's
door.
facing the wrong way. How on earth did that even happen? I'm unsure.
With any luck, you may also have a door that can open and close.
Unlike us, which we have failed in doing.
Splendid.
Unsure why that failed. Oh well. It is
Just to
indeed
say,
splendid.
Of course, you can fill it up with whatever blocks you'd like that we haven't placed already. Of course, there are a few blocks that need to be solid. So
There's
don't
actually
go too
hardly-
crazy with decoration.
There's actually hardly any redstone components on the ceiling blocks, as you can tell. Like, you can pretty much break all of these without having to replace anything underneath, which is quite nice. The only things you will have to look out for is this dust line and then this one extra redstone dust right here. So if you try to customize the ceiling, just look out for these blocks right here.
And of course,
We're gonna test this out
customize
again.
The door itself as well.
You can demonstrate some customizations.
Here we go. As you can see, it is very customizable to your taste. And if you give it an open and a close, of course there'll be some blocks on the ground if you do give it crazy patterns, so be wary of that. But this door has the advantage of not swapping any blocks. So any pattern you put on it will remain that way for eternity.
No block swapping allowed.
No block swapping allowed.
There's actually a little known fun fact. When I tried to build my 5x5 tutorial, like, you know, like the really old one, that like the 1.55 seconds one, yeah, I finished the door in a tutorial, and then I said it doesn't swap blocks. And then I proceeded to customize the door frame and found that it did swap blocks, so I remade the entire door.
Oh, good heavens.
Yeah, it was pretty funny when that happened. I really should have uploaded that footage. It was quite silly.
Quite.
Overall, this door did not take us that long to wire.
We both had plenty of experience with this layout already, and we just decided to one day push it even further with the power of collaboration.
Teamwork and friendship.
Besides,
Oh no!
yeah, of course.
Look, I'm not gonna blow it up this time. Look, you saw what happened when you rupture the space-time around us.
That's true.
Bad things occur. Anyways, we want to graciously thank you for sticking through with us in this tutorial. And hopefully you have a functional piston door that you are going to enjoy until your friend breaks it with the spamming of a lever.
As do I. I digress.
You can actually input this door with a dust line, and it goes quite like this.
True.
Which means you can also hook up an instant repeater to the door, but
Be wary of the dust being able to last all the way up here.
yep, you only need
You can also
6
power it from
signal
the
strength.
no block side if you'd like.
Yeah, you actually can do this if you want to do that. I don't know why you would want the input block to be here, because if you misclick it, it'll go kaboom.
Speaking of kaboom,
Oh, that's lovely. I wonder what happened.
I don't know, something strange. Anyway, I'll wrap it up for this tutorial. Hope you learned something. Hope you built
Whoa,
something.
that's not allowed.
Oh?
There was a very conspicuous pattern on the wall there.
Oh, good heavens. I'm glad it has been dealt with.
Anyways, what were you saying? I'm sorry for interrupting.
Well, I was just thanking the audience for sticking around and for building and for watching and for learning.
Oh, sorry, I pasted this funky thing.
The continuum is collapsing on us. I think we best get out of here.
Yes. Goodbye, friends. Till next
Goodbye.
time.
Have a wonderlicious day.